Welcome again to Woodturning with Dick. Woodturning with Dick.
Woodturning with Dick.
Woodturning. Been nagged for a long time. Make YouTube's a video. People will love watching it. It's like, really? Okay, fine, I will. But I'm not a professional. I do this for the fun of it. I have done since I was 12 years old. I absolutely love it. It's all about not necessarily finishing what you started, but making something out of what you finished, or haven't finished, or broken. You start with the intent of making a bowl with a natural edge. Things fly apart, you then change it, reduce it, increase it, add things to it, take things off of it, and you end up with something completely different than you originally envisaged. This is a good example. Bog oak, 5,000-year-old piece of wood. It didn't enjoy the higher speed on the lathe and went flying around the workshop. This side, it's got several cracks in it. I'll use it for something else some other time. This side, however, having had a good look at it, you've got the bowl edge on that side. This is a flat edge, which I was going to finish off later, which I'll shape some sort of cone on the back there to make it stand up better. I'll finish off the bottom nice and flat. Turn a bowl in this here. Gild it, because it helps refract the light. Gorgeous grain in this. It's going to make a nice sort of horizon, seascape, whatever you want to call it, but a moon here maybe, or a sun, probably a moon. The champagne gold works really well. Now this is early days yet. I'm thinking about this sort of angle, little statues in front, little squares, columns, or points, turned columns, an arrangement of a few, several, things are better in threes, maybe so 6, 9, 12, a collection, either at the sides or in front of the gilded bowl, and then some sort of base. Early days, so what this will turn into, you'll see later on in the video. Enjoy. I get this, so it sits at the angle I want it to, and as it happens, lay on its front like that, and draw a straight line across the bottom here of where I want to cut it on the bandsaw. Nice pink pencil, nice and bright. At least then you can find it fairly easily. The plan, I need to make it whole again. A couple of old bits of scaffold board. Glue those together. So reasonable amount of weight. This is a bit heavier. There's going to be slightly less of this piece of wood by the time I cut that off. Glue the whole thing together. Then you'll see. The scaffold board, clamped together, a bit of wood glue. So there is no right and wrong. I'm making something, as long as joins are clean, as long as you got glue covering everything and a good layer, and you leave it long enough to set. The glue says 24 hours, you leave it 24 hours. Yeah, you don't try and do it after an hour, because the thing will fly apart. So I've got my scaffold boards on this side, I've got this glued up, so this should be nice and easy to turn the bowl once I've finished building up the back and a place for the faceplate, and all the glue's gone off. Just a case of waiting on this one. Time to start on something else. It's been left its 24 hours, so let's unclamp it, and there we go. That's all stuck on there well enough. Random bit of wood I found that's about the right sort of size. Trim that down a little bit, stick that on there, then plane that flat, then something to put my faceplate onto. Okay, just need to level that off. It's glued well enough. I'm not going to put any pressure on it. I'm just going to level that off so it's the same height as the board. A centre punch in the vise. Not going to lie to you, workshops are messy, so forgive the state of the place. So nice and tight in there, nice centre point. It's a case of finding the centre. Close enough, so that when it's spinning on the lathe, that won't give too much vibration through the lathe, because all I'm putting it on the lathe for is to dig the bowl out, so that I then get my moon, or cave, or whatever you want to call it, in the bog oak. So push down, mark the back, jackpot. Hey, all the glue's dry. Haven't turned this on yet. I did have to trim the corners just to make sure it didn't hit the bed. Speed's down low. New switch installed because last time it blew off and smashed the switch apart. So here goes nothing. We're good. Hey! Okay, let's get this this bowl turned. Oh, everything's tight. Once again, my favourite bit, the sander sealer. Though it doesn't greatly matter, I am finishing this to 600 grit, if not 1000, because it's going to be gilded. If there's any sanding marks, it will show, because the gilding is so thin, it will show any sanding marks. And get the sander sealer right in the cracks. While it's solidly held on the lathe, I thought I'd clean up the face a bit. Because of the curvature on the wood, rather than having a completely flat front face, it's not going to hurt if I do it with this. You'll see the end result in the end. My vision for this, a bit dusty at the moment, having dug through my offcuts, I've got some lovely Macassar Ebony, which I plan to make the structures that are going to sit in front of this piece. Similar toned wood, should come up a real nice shine when I turn the various bits of it. I've got a couple of these blanks which I'm going to use. Plinth that I'm thinking of it sitting on, likely in a box in the end, will be about so wide. Next job, get this nice and square and cut these to length. Get this off so I've just got the natural on the top there and get rid of some of this nastiness at the side. While it's still on the faceplate, I'm now going to hand finish all of this. That curve, that is where the piece of wood was cut, and then as it dried, bog oak can bow quite badly. Now I kept that bow in this side, which I think will add to the overall appeal. I almost make it look like I meant it to be that way. Loving these colours, this colour in the wood that arcs up beautifully over the cave that's going to be there. Did I mention previously, my favourite bit is the sander sealer. I put a glove on because it gets in your skin a bit and it's a bit of a pig to get out your skin. That's why I use a glove. It's going to blow the dust out of me cracks. I haven't finished the edges here because that's getting cut off. The wood just comes to life. Something close to what it's going to look like when it's finished. Here's my piece of slate, gifted to me as part of a cheese board, but it is just a piece of slate. So this is how big my what's it's going to be. Should I do it dead centre? It's logical I should do it slightly off that way, actually, slightly off that way. Moon or whatever it is, goes slightly off to the left in the finished thing. Now I've got a nice flat edge to run through the bandsaw and get these nice and square. Here comes the fun bit. I finished the sides here, haven't sander sealed it. I finished the back, haven't sander sealed it. I scuffed the front, so I've refinished that. I've finished the other end. Now it's time to cut it in half. Well judged or lucky? So we have our piece of slate. We have this, which I haven't waxed yet. Too excited I had to put it together. I've decided on spikes rather than columns. There's my Macassar Ebony. There's another piece of Macassar Ebony. So 3 spikes out of that, 3 spikes out of that. You can see I've glued on a piece of wood on the bottom there. That's to not waste the wood, so I can get the full length of the spike that I want to make. I'll cut those into 3 in a minute, or later, tomorrow. I've got a bit of American rippled maple. Don't know if you can see the ripple in that, but that will be one on its own. So I'll have 3 of these, 3 of these, and 1 of these, positioned appropriately, then presented in a Perspex box of appropriate size. I do still need to make a plaque for the back here to have the number on, which will be number 789, apparently, according to my partner's records. 789th arty piece that I've made for Moth and Mirror. Random piece of bog oak laying around the workshop that I'm going to use for the back plate. Cut one edge off and use that to put the logo and piece number on. Time for the Moth and Mirror stamp. There she is. I also picked up these wonderful little stamps. Very small numbering. They mark the numbers of the pieces that I make. Just going to mark the centre points so I can rough turn them down. Look at that. Gilding complete. Looks lovely just on its own like that. What I've done, I've drilled a couple of holes in the bottom here. Marked them very carefully on the slate. Drilled through the slate so I can put a couple of screws up through the bottom of the slate. Squidge of glue through it through the centre here just to give it a little more adhesion to the slate. Time to put it together. Now, I had lots of ideas on how I wanted to present these spikes, but exactly how, I wasn't entirely sure. So whilst polishing, laying them out, presenting different ideas, different positions, don't really like that rippled maple in front of the champagne gold gilding. Maybe over here? Yeah, too close to the bog oak. Oh, look what arrived. Shiny. Oh, that looked nice. Yeah, final decisions. I'm liking separating them at this end, having the one over that side. Just one that's different and a grouping. There we go. There she is. Finito.